Well, good afternoon, everybody. It's the Cryptid Huntress. I'm Jessica Jones. Thank y'all so much for being here today. My goodness, we have another wonderful show for you guys. And of course, I am going to be speaking at the Georgia Bigfoot Conference this Saturday. So of course, I had to bring on Dr. John Stamey today. He is the organizer of that event, and we're going to talk about Bigfoot today. Okay, we're not just going to talk about Bigfoot. We're going to talk about the different types of communication that Bigfoots have and do. And we're really going to focus on the psionics aspect, which I never called it psionics. It's just Mindspeak and telepathy and things like that. And as y'all know, that is why my team got trained in remote viewing, so we could communicate with these cryptids. And it's not just Bigfoot. It's everything. We're talking about ETs, maybe even some lizard men. And I've got my resident expert on lizard man here in the studio today. We do have Dr. John Stamey here. So you guys go get the popcorn and buckle up, because we're going to be in for a fun ride today. And I cannot wait. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. We had a wonderful show on Monday. If you guys missed it, please go back and check that out. We had Barry Littleton here, and we talked about modern day dinosaur sightings and encounters. And we even got into the cursed Lake Lanier here in Georgia. I'm going to be passing Lake Lanier on my way to the Georgia Bigfoot Conference. And so if you guys ever want to go there, please be careful. It may not be cursed, but it's definitely haunted. Okay, maybe it is cursed. I don't know. I have second thoughts about getting into any lake at this point after all of these remote viewing targets that Barry has given me involving water and lake cryptids. Okay, if something grabs at my foot, I'm out. Okay, I'm done. I'm done. I'll never get back in there again. So, but anyways, all right. Well, if you guys would like to follow along with all of my shows and everything and check out the archives, please go over to my website. I try to keep it updated. I try my best. Thecryptidhuntress.com. You can find all of my social media links there. Y'all got to go follow me on all the social media. I'm the Cryptid Huntress on every platform except for X. I'm actually Huntress Jessica over there. And we are streaming live on X right now. We should be. Oh, yeah, it's showing that we are. We're streaming live on X, YouTube, and Facebook at the moment. So shout out to everybody on those platforms. Thank y'all so much for being here. And I want to thank all my moderators, too, for being here today. You guys help keep this machine rolling. Okay, you really do. And I appreciate it very much. I do have a Patreon if you guys would like to support my work. So thank you to all my Patreon members. I have a channel membership as well here on the YouTube channel. It's called The Hunt Club, if you guys want to become a member there. And I also have a shop over currently on Etsy. It's called War Woman Goods. So thank you guys so much for all of your support. Now, y'all know we got, like I mentioned, the Georgia Bigfoot Conference coming up this Saturday. On Friday night, we're going to have a meet and greet. And I'm going to really get into this with Dr. John in just a minute. But you guys, please come and see us. Put it on your schedule, on your calendar of events this weekend if you're in the area, at Piedmont University in Demarest, Georgia. It is going to be such a great time. And we have a lot of wonderful people lined up to speak. I'm going to be speaking as well there. I've been talking about it every single show for the past couple months at least. So please come see me there. Okay. Well, let's get to our show, because we're going to be talking about Bigfoot comms. I know I put that on the thumbnail today. Comms are communications, just in case y'all didn't know. I think most of y'all know. Bigfoot comms. It's actually just cryptid comms. Man, what a cool, that's actually would be a great name of a book or something. Okay, I should copyright that if it hadn't already been copyrighted. But we're talking about that today. And we're going to be exploring Bigfoot communication, including mind control, telepathy, and Mindspeak. In the world of Bigfoot research, and Dr. John Stamey is here. He knows about the importance of tapping in and tuning in to psychic abilities when encountering cryptids, from Bigfoot to lizard man. We're going to be talking about his experiences with ESP, extrasensory perception, and discuss his work with Rhine Feather, the daughter of Miss Dr. J.B. Ryan and Dr. Louisa Rein, who are known for their pioneering research in the field of ESP. He helped Feather with research on her book, The Gift, which features stories from people who have had experiences with ESP. Dr. Stamey, or Dr. John, as I call him, received his doctorate from North Carolina State University in Raleigh. During his 3 years in that program, he was also a research associate for the Rhine Research Center in Durham, working with renowned researchers such as Dr. Rhine Feather. He's always had an interest in the paranormal. He runs a number of Comic-Cons, as well as Bigfoot and Lizard Man conferences and festivals. He co-hosts Scary Cast, a weekly podcast on Blog Talk Radio, and airs his shows on his YouTube channel, Bigfoot and Company. He's published several books, including Bigfoot Explorers, An Introduction to Hominology, Look Up in the Sky, Aliens, UFOs, and Anomalies, and the final book, Lizard Man, Bigfoot, and Friends. It's not his final book. He's always doing something, always writing, always thinking, always on the run. And I'm so glad I caught him today. Thank you for being here, Dr. John. Please help me welcome to the show, Dr. John Stamey. Hey, John.
Hey, Jessica. It's so wonderful to be here with you.
Well, thank you. I'm just glad that you're here today. And we're going to have a really fun discussion today on Bigfoot communications. And you have a huge festival, or it's not a festival, it's a conference coming up this weekend. So I had to bring you on. We got to do some promotion for that today as well.
Yeah, and thank you so much. I mean, we got the Georgia Bigfoot Conference coming up. You are the keynote speaker along with Stacy Brown, and I mean, we can't have better speakers than you folks.
Oh, well, thank you. Well, thank you. I mean, I'm going to be speaking, and this is what I cannot stop talking sometimes. So you're going to have to. I'm going to depend on you to give me a signal to tell me when to stop talking, okay, when we get there. Because, I could talk all day about Bigfoot, John.
Listen, I've got you and Matt Delph and Stacy, and you guys can talk all you want. But I'll be back there waving, hey, whatever.
Oh, yeah. We got David Pardue coming as well, and the guys from North Carolina Investigates, including Robert Effler and Tim Dills and George Lunsford and Harley Owens. Harley's been on the show before, as has George. I mean, yeah, George. So I'm super excited.
And you know what? And I must say thank you for introducing me to a number of these people. You have been so kind, and we kind of form a club. We always talk with each other. I talk with these guys all the time. And I want to thank you, Jessica, publicly, because you have been so instrumental in the great people that I know in the Bigfoot world.
Oh, well, you're welcome. And I appreciate that. I appreciate that. And you know what? I have the pleasure and the opportunity of meeting a whole lot of really great researchers from just being out boots on the ground, doing field research and bringing them on my shows. And so it's just a wonderful network of people that we've met. I mean, I've worked with people from all across the country and all across the world, Bigfooting. So yeah, it's just natural, John. It's just natural to be able to do this kind of stuff.
Right.
And thank you.
And then you confirmed, I met quite by accident Michael Roser.
Yeah, from Dark Hour Paranormal.
And I said, do you know this guy? And you told me all about him. And he has become such a wonderful friend in the last couple of weeks. I mean, we're going to be doing a project up there in Massachusetts. And it's just, it's wonderful that you keep validating all these great people. And so thanks a lot. We really appreciate it.
Okay. Well, I met him actually through this guy right here on the screen, Long Island Bigfoot, Mike. He brought him up to Montauk, New York about 1.5 years ago. And I was meeting Long Island Bigfoot up there with a bunch of other people but Michael came along with them, and we went out to Montauk to Camp Hero together, and he did some filming for a documentary, and I've been in one of his documentaries actually. So that's fantastic. I'm glad you guys have connected, and thank you, Long Island Bigfoot, for gifting a Cryptid Huntress membership to a lucky member of the chat today. That is so sweet of you. And he says, Mike says, Dark Hour Paranormal is awesome. I'm sure we'll be meeting Dr. Stamey in person soon enough if he's going to work with Michael Roser. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, we were actually up in Montauk. Long Island Bigfoot Mike here showed us around Camp Hero along with our friend Brian Minnick. And they showed us all over the Montauk. There's a Bigfoot on the property up there, John. It's called
Really?
Junior. Yes, they named it Junior, and it was part of the Montauk project. Actually, it was a product. I'm going to say a byproduct or a product of the Montauk program up there. And so they actually got one on video. I decided to sleep in one morning. When I was sleeping in is when they got that video of a Bigfoot. So I wasn't there. I was very disappointed in myself for not being there. But anyways, Michael was there too. So that's the only reason I'm telling you all this. And and also thank you, Maureen. Gas money from Gus. Thank you. I could always use some gas money going to all these things that I do. So thank you. Oh man. Okay. Well, we're not only going to be talking about at the conference, we're going to be talking, it's all about Bigfoot, right? I mean, I've
Yes,
got
ma'am.
a whole presentation. Of course, I'm the Cryptid Huntress. My focus is Bigfoot. But we're going to be hitting every angle of Bigfoot, you know, like every angle, including, I mean, today I'll probably include this in my presentation, John, talking about the communication of Bigfoot. And I know you've done extensive research on communication of cryptids as well, right?
Yes, ma'am, I have.
Okay. Well, good. Well, you and I both share a love of telepathy and ESP and all things, you know, focused on, I want to say mind control. It sounds terrible to say mind control. People have such a negative connotation to that phrase, but it's not negative, right?
Not at all, not at all. And what I say and what I tell people, it's like you're sitting here, you're doing whatever, and you get an arrow through your head. And it's like you get this thing, it's an arrow, and you start thinking about what's going on. And they're telling you something that you need to do. They do this to me all the time, or not all the time, maybe, you know, occasionally a couple of times a week. And these arrows in your mind tell you what you ought to do. They're always great ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Does that sound weird?
I mean, no, it doesn't sound weird to me at all. Because what you're saying is that you get thoughts in your head, right?
Right. And it's like an arrow. It's like an arrow.
Focused.
It's like they're sending you an arrow, and then all of a sudden you know something that you didn't know before. Yes. And that's what I get all the time. I was talking with a very close friend of mine last night, and I said, you know, okay, can I tell you a short story? Absolutely. Okay. A friend of mine is a very, very talented musician. Mm-hmm. He's wonderfully talented. And I was talking to him about Jerry Goodman. I said, Jerry Goodman told me that we need to work on your talent and bring it forward and do all this stuff. He said, that's great. Who's Jerry Goodman? I said, Jerry Goodman is the president of Surfside Records, and he was a major player in the world of music. He said, well, that's great. And we talked a while. And then last night I said, by the way, I guess I forgot to tell you that Jerry Goodman died about, I don't know, 11 years ago. Oh, no. And he is the guy that sent me this message about you. He said, what? I said, yeah. Jerry Goodman sent me this message about you in one of these arrows that I get in my head.
Oh, wow.
He said, "Oh my God." And I told him all about sitting in Jerry's office. Jerry was one of the greatest musical minds, and it was just amazing. And I told him, he said, "You really believe this, don't you?" I said, "Yes, I do."
Hmm.
I mean, I talked with Jerry.
Wow.
I talked with these people.
Yeah.
You know, Haley Joel Osment, who
I see
won an
people.
Academy Award
Right.
for The Sixth Sense, he
Hmm.
talked about, "I speak to dead people."
I see
Well,
dead
it's not a
people.
speaking to dead people. It's just like, when you're dead, you're just in another realm. And
Exactly.
and
The
that's
quantum.
what we do.
Right.
If we're lucky enough, and I am very lucky that I get to speak with people who have passed away.
Hmm.
It's just amazing, and I'm just so thrilled that I get to talk to them.
Yeah, well, some people have that ability. A lot of us do actually, and I know a lot of people in the chat here today do too. We do receive, like Mike said, Mike Prine said, downloads. Downloads is what you're referring to. That's what I call them too, Mike. Downloads. I get downloads quite often. Sometimes you hear. I'm not going to say just we hear voices, okay, but we do get those intuitive nudges at times too. Could even be what we're talking about, but a type of download, and that is a great movie, The Sixth Sense. It's got Bruce Willis in it, I guess. That's a good movie. At the very end, it totally is you're like, oh my gosh. I'm not gonna give it away if you hadn't watched it, but at the very end, it's like, oh my god, why didn't I even think of that? Okay,
Right, and
so
it's unbelievable.
it's
And Haley
unbelievable.
Joel Osment at 11
Yes,
years old was one of the was incredible.
yes. Well, Bigfoots do this. Okay, Bigfoot. Sometimes when we're out in the field and even at home, we can get nudges and intuitive downloads from things that aren't human. Right? You mean you just mentioned ghosts and people that have passed on, and you have had your own personal experiences with Bigfoot before. Have you ever had communication with Bigfoot, John?
More times than you would ever believe.
Okay, tell me about
I'll
it. What kind of
I'll
communications have
tell
you had?
I'll tell you about. It was about 2 months ago. I was up in Lakemont, Georgia, and I was up with Mr. Robert, and we were doing um, we were doing our oh God, what you call it? Our oh, I can't remember. But we were up there, and all of a sudden I heard two knocks. We were at a cemetery in Lakemont, Georgia, and I said, "Hello." And I walked to the edge of the cemetery, and there was this huge bank of trees. And I said, "Hey, I'm Dr. John. You remember me? I was at Will's house. I've been here before." And I started talking to them. And then I heard four knocks. I said, "Oh God, this is great." So we just kept on with our dowsing rods. We were, going around the cemetery. And then I said, "Are you okay? I mean, you do remember me, right?" And then all of a sudden, they started clamoring and banging around, and it's like, "Oh my God, they know who I am."
They were
And so I
communicating.
taught.
That's two different types of communication so far. You're telling us because we got the telepathy, the Mindspeak kind of thing going on, and the wood knocks. That's another type of communication that the Bigfoots have.
They really do. And so I started talking to him. I said, "You remember me? I'm Dr. John. I was at Will's house, and I've been around here a lot." And they just started. The knocks were amazing. And I said, "Mr. Bill, did you hear it?" He said, "I did." And I looked at them and I said, "Now, Mr. Bill lives by himself at this beautiful house." And I told him exactly where it was. And I
Wait,
said,
I've
"I
been there,
want
hadn't
you."
I? I didn't mean to interrupt
Pardon?
you. I've been to his house, haven't I?
Yeah, you have
Okay,
been.
I've been there. I just went there a couple months ago with you and my son, and
Right, right.
we had a good time.
Right. And I said, listen, I want you, because Mr. Bill lives by himself now. His wife is deceased. And what I want you to do is I want you to take care of him, and I don't want anything bad to happen to him. And they kept banging and banging and banging. And I know that they're going to watch, they're watching him. I told them what we needed to do, and I'm certain that they did it. Now, I know that may sound weird to people, but when you tell them that, this gentleman is, he knows about Bigfoot, and he knows he has all this stuff up there, and I know that they're going to watch out for him,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't have to
They
worry
do.
about Mr. Bill.
They're going to keep a good eye on him. That's a good man right there. I like Mr. Bill. He's a good dude, and he taught us about dowsing for grave sites. Actually, we went to a
Yes, he
cemetery and
did.
everything. Gosh, he's a good dude. I hope I get to see him this weekend if he'll be there at the conference. Boo the Beagle says, I had a Bigfoot mentally tell me to stop spraying my maple trees. They use them. It mentally felt just like a human spirit to me. Wow, that's interesting. Well, they say that Bigfoots do have maybe half human DNA there. And Flat Rock, this is one of my favorite Bigfooters right here. This is Flat Rock. He says Jessica is one of the best speakers. Oh my gosh. Thank you, Flat Rock. Yes, an hour is never enough time, Flat Rock. That's right. Flat Rock speaks at conferences too. And you need to get him on the circuit, John. He's out of Alabama.
Absolutely. I would love to. Just give me his contact information, and I'll get him on our circuit.
I'm gonna get you in trouble, Flat Rock. We're gonna get you booked. But yeah, he gives a wonderful. He's got Bigfoots that live on his property, and talk about communication. They bang on his home. They leave handprints all over the place. They've even licked some oil out of his bacon trap, his grease trap on his grill on his porch. Okay. We talked about that a little bit over the weekend. I had Greg House on the show out of Alabama, and Robbie Raines, and he talked about how a Bigfoot had actually taken a big tub of peanut oil and drank the entire gigantic thing of peanut oil. Can you imagine how sick that would make somebody if they ate that, John?
My God, yes.
Yeah, a big gigantic thing of it. But there's just so many different ways that Bigfoots have communicated with you. Then in that case, I know that's not the only time they've communicated with you, though, right? You've had a bunch of times.
No. They just basically talk to me, and I hear it in my head.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I do. And I tell people about this. I hear things in my head, and it's just the way it is.
It is. It is. Have you ever heard any tree knocks? Because that's another way that Bigfoots communicate. And some say tree knocks. I think it's their tongue clicking. That's what I personally think. What do you think about that?
I've heard plenty of tree knocks, especially up there with Mr. Bill. That day, I just heard those, and it's like, it's unmistakable. You just hear these knocks, and it's like, someone said, "Don't you get scared about this?" I said, "Well, no. I mean, it's just what you're involved in and what you hear." And I've heard tons of stuff about Bigfoot, and because of Bigfoot, we are moving into the Atlanta market with our conferences, and I'm just thrilled, because that's what they told me to do.
So they told you that.
If you listen to Bigfoot, they will tell you what to do to be successful.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's quite the download from the Bigfoots, and that's absolutely wonderful. I mean, I get downloads all the time, and I'm not sure exactly where they're coming from. Maybe it's Bigfoot or Dogman or something like that. You're one of your specialties is lizard man, John. So have you ever gotten any kind of downloads or had any communication with lizard man?
Not a lot, because I was only working with lizard man about 2 or 3 years when I was doing the Lizard Man Festival in Bishopville, South Carolina. But I guess if you want to call it downloads, I mean, I've got plenty of downloads about Georgia. They love Georgia. No, they really do. And I am fortunate that they have told me this, and that I was able, I've been able to do, because we're going to have the Atlanta Bigfoot conference. We're just going to have all kinds of things. And those are things that I was directed by Bigfoot. I mean, you just listen to the voice. I call it the voice. And you just listen to it and you say, oh, okay, well, that's what I need to do.
Well, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. Well, you know what? One of the first times I ever heard Bigfoots talk, okay, I'd been out in the field for a very short while. I started doing my field research back in 2011, and it's in Georgia. Okay, I'm a Georgia peach. I see that, Maureen. The Georgia peach is over here.
You are. Now, I'm sorry. You are absolutely a Georgia peach, and you're a lovely Georgia peach.
Well, thank you. I love my home state of Georgia, and born and raised, never left. I've always lived here my entire life. But within the first month or two of me going out for the first time Bigfooting, I went to a Bigfoot conference in North Georgia held by Alex Midnight Walker. Okay, and I'd actually gone out with him in the field the first time I ever went Bigfooting. Okay, and so I went to his conference within a month or two, and Ron Moorhead was speaking there. Okay, and he had not written this book yet. But it was the first time, and this is called Quantum Bigfoot. If you guys are not familiar with this is, if I were to write a book about Bigfoot and telepathy or just everything, I know some people say I'm in the woo camp. I'm in all the camps. Okay, y'all, I'm in all the camps. They're flesh and blood. They're flesh and bone, but they're also telepathic and have an X factor to them. And Ronald Moorhead sums it up perfectly in this book. And John, I know you've written some books as well. But I'm talking about this book right now because it's I met Ron right after I started Bigfooting, and he had something called the Sierra Sounds. And the Sierra Sounds, and guess who else was at that conference? You're familiar with Ron? Yeah. R. Scott Nelson. R. Scott Nelson was there speaking as well. And so it was wild because I got two of the heaviest hitters when it comes to Bigfoot communication in the Bigfoot world at that conference. I got to meet them personally about a month into me starting Bigfooting. Okay. And so Ron, back in I think it was the 1970s, he had put some recorders up in a tree in the Sierra Mountains, and they got all these recordings of the Bigfoots talking and doing what we call samurai chatter. Okay, you can call it whatever you want, but that's what they were calling it back then. And it sounded like something that was like archaic Japanese with a little bit of Native American dialects in there, and Italian and French and English and all sorts of weird, just like a smorgasbord of languages all kind of mixed together there. And I got to hear that for the first time. And I actually bought his book and had a CD with it back when I used to listen to CDs. And I listened to that CD in my car on the ride home, John. And I got creeped out. I'm not going to lie. I got really creeped out listening to it because it was 100% intelligent. Okay. It was something intelligent. And I knew that Bigfoots were intelligent, but that was the first time that I'd ever heard them actually make sounds. And R. Scott Nelson is the person who actually took those Sierra sounds and then transcribed them figured out that they had their own language, and was able to pick out the phonemes and things like that to decipher kind of what they were talking about. But you could hear it in the inflections, John. You could hear it like it sounded like a man and a woman arguing at some point. It just you kind of tell by the inflections and the tones that they used. Kind of just like in any language. I mean, if I were having a fight with you right now and we were speaking English, somebody who spoke French or Italian would know what we were doing, at least because of the way we were acting towards each other, right? Even if they couldn't understand our language.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's kind of how I felt with those languages. Okay, but here's the thing, John. It's not just vocalizations. There's more to it. And Ron talks about this in his book, Quantum Bigfoot, The Quantum Bigfoot, to where it's not just vocalizations where we're talking like this. You and I are talking today. There's something more to it, right? Something in the quantum field.
Right.
And that's probably how they communicate more than vocalizations, I would think. What do you think?
Well, I think I agree with you because they have a way to, first of all, they don't always have to communicate verbally. They can communicate with through what I call Mindspeak. They talk to you in your mind, and they do. I mean, I have this happen quite a bit.
Mhm.
I mean, it's just. I'm sorry. It's very simple for me to say. I'm just standing here in my kitchen, and I am told what to do. And I was, here's a perfect example. I was needing to talk to Scott Slade, number one Scott Slade in the morning, in Atlanta radio. And I
He's
was
a
needing
video
to talk.
broadcaster, y'all. I'm sorry, I
Yes,
don't mean to interrupt. Just to let the
yeah,
audience know, because most of these people are
yes.
not from Georgia, probably,
Okay.
but
Scott
we all know
Slade
him.
is the number one show in Atlanta.
Mhm.
And I kept saying, I know I've got to talk to him. And I just never had a chance to give him a call. So he called me yesterday morning at 8:45. Said, I know about Georgia Bigfoot, and we've got to interview you. And I was floored, because this is exactly what I needed to happen, and I know who did it. It was Bigfoot. So I
Oh,
went
beautiful.
on there, and we sold a bunch of tickets, and we talked about Bigfoot and everything. It was unbelievable. But the fact is, Bigfoot communicated to him that he needed to talk to me.
Man.
Now, you can say all you want that that's not the way it happened, but whoever say it's not how it happened, are wrong. I mean, the guy called me. I needed to talk to him. I didn't have a chance to call him. I've got his phone number. I'm sorry, I was just busy trying to make this conference happen. And he called me. Thank you, Big. And I knew who did it. It was Bigfoot.
Oh yeah, for
And I
sure.
said, thank you. And I said in my head, thank you, Bigfoot. You were wonderful for doing what you did. And Bigfoot can just essentially talk to you. And I think, Jessica, that experience when Bigfoot talks to you, right?
Yes, I do. I always feel like somebody's watching me too. I don't know. They have that ability. They have a lot of interesting abilities. Now, my question to you, John, is when you first uh, got into the whole Bigfoot phenomenon, okay, a lot of people start off, especially Bigfoot field researchers or people that have actually encountered a Bigfoot, they start off thinking, well, this is just like there's maybe one or a couple of Bigfoots out there, and they're all just flesh and bone, flesh and blood, the flesh and blood camp. Okay. But as you start to get into the Bigfoot phenomenon a little more and you have some weird experiences, then you're all of a sudden in the woo camp, right? How did that work out for you? Because I know you're people call it the woo camp. I just say it's my reality. Okay. That's just what I've
Well,
experienced.
I just have had experiences with Bigfoot. They have been very kind to me, but then again, they know that I'm out here promoting them. And that's why I think that I have good experiences with Bigfoot, because I'm trying to promote them. I want to talk about them. I have gone through ups and downs with people, but not with Bigfoot. And just they know that I'm out here to promote them. And I think about them a lot, and I believe that they know that I think about them a lot. And sorry if that sounds weird to all you people that don't know about it, but if you think about Bigfoot, they will pick up on it, and they will know that you love them. And I love Bigfoot.
Well,
And
I'm sure Bigfoot loves you
I'm
too.
not trying to make money off this thing. All I got to say is I just want to break even. And
Or the conference.
that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm going to break even on this conference. It won't hurt me, but it will help Bigfoot tremendously when we present Bigfoot in a good way.
Hmm. You do a great job, John. I love speaking at your conferences and meeting everybody. We have people that travel far and wide to come see us at your conferences, and it's just great. I know the Bigfoots do appreciate it too. This is an interesting comment from Bounty Hunting Bear. I think they send other signals beside words. I've smelt smoke, but the fire was miles away, 2 mountain ridges over, and we couldn't even see it for 2 more hours. They let us know that there was fire near. Now that's really interesting, because that is that clairsentience? I can't remember there's a clair what do you olfactory or something.
Clairsentience, yes,
The clair
absolutely.
olfactory. You can smell things. Sometimes, if some say if there's a ghost in the room or there's a spirit there and you smell a cigar, or you smell perfume. Bounty Hunting Bear says that they smelt smoke, and but there was no smoke, but it warned them that there was fire nearby.
Well, I mean, they are very fortunate that Bigfoot chose them to let them know that there was something bad going on, and they were lucky. So it's like, I live in a small 1-bedroom condo, and sometimes I smell things, and I always look, and I smelled something very smoky, and then all of a sudden I went online and I found out that there was a gigantic fire in Carolina forest. So I mean, Bigfoot helps you. Bigfoot loves you. And if you love Bigfoot, I don't care how weird this sounds, if you love Bigfoot, Bigfoot will love you.
Yeah. Well, I love Bigfoot, so everybody knows I love Bigfoot, and I haven't been ran out of the woods yet. Okay, I haven't, but not to say I won't in the future. But yeah, Rocky Mountain Skywatcher says everything is in the quantum field of existence, all vibrational energy, and that's right. Everything is there, and so Andrew wants to know what kind of messages I've gotten from Bigfoots from the ethers. Well, I'll tell you what, some of the messages that I get, and that's to stay away. Okay, there's something that I have mentioned and I've referred to several times on my show, a bunch of times, and that's the energetic brick wall. The energetic brick wall that me and almost every single person that I've ever gone out in the field with, all these researchers, we all have experienced it. And it's where we're walking through the woods, through the field, wherever we're at, and we just get that overwhelming sense of just dread and like, don't move, don't keep going further or else. And sometimes it's physical, like you just can't move. You can't keep going. And I like to call that.
I'm sorry, I want to interject. You get the feeling to stay away.
100%. Right? It's to stop in your tracks, turn around, and go back. Get out of here. Go on, get. That's the feeling that we get, and when I get that, I don't keep moving forward. I will leave at that point because it just feels bad. I don't like being places where I'm not welcome. Okay,
right.
And I appreciate whatever it is letting me know that I'm not. Either I'm not welcome there, or it's dangerous. I mean, maybe there's some kind of portal or something, and I was about to walk into, and they're telling me to stop. Don't go into the light. Don't go in the portal, or I don't know. I just heard that voice from Poltergeist. Carol Ann, you don't want to, you don't want to make them mad. That's the way I look at it. And it might just save your life. It's always that voice inside, it's just something inherently inside of us that will save our lives if we'll just listen to it. Okay.
Absolutely.
It's like our intuition.
Absolutely. It will. And people don't understand that when you hear these things in your head, please listen. Please listen, because they're there for a reason. Correct?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Absolutely. It's all there for a reason. And I like to think it's to save my life is what I like to think. Angela, thank you for being here. She says, thank you both for what you do. Hope to see you at events. I'm vending, speaking at some point. You better be there. I hope to see you this weekend. Okay, Angela. And yeah, I can't wait to see you. I think Angela was at the last year's conference, I'm pretty sure. And I think it was Daryl. Or yeah, Daryl. Okay. So yeah. You got to listen to it. It's that little, it might be us. It might be our higher self telling us not to go, but it also could be something, knowing what I know, there is that telepathic connection that we do have with other humans and with the cryptids. And John, that's why I started off the show today by telling the audience, that is why my entire team was trained right off the bat within months of us becoming a full team in remote viewing. And it was to be able to communicate, not only to communicate with the cryptids out there, but to be able to have that psychic connection, it's like, even like spirit tracking and stuff like that. The Native Americans have done that since the beginning of time, spirit tracking, right?
Yes, absolutely. And I wanted to say something. I was thinking about this about a minute ago. If you will, in your head, start trying to talk to Bigfoot, Bigfoot will talk to you.
Yeah.
I know that sounds weird, but if you start thinking about Bigfoot and all the great things that Bigfoot can do, you'll be amazed that you'll start getting messages from Bigfoot. You really will, because you get them, I get them, and I haven't done anything. So I'm nobody special. I'm just John, and I'm here in Myrtle Beach, But all I do is I think good thoughts about Bigfoot. And I'm just sitting here looking at one of my Bigfoot posters. And it's just like they will start talking to you. I hope you didn't think that was too weird, Jessica.
No, I was just going to say Bigfoot is my spirit animal. Okay. Bigfoot is my spirit animal, y'all. Okay. Sometimes Dogman too, but Bigfoot is my spirit animal. Brandon's asking, do they bend branches into tunnels by rivers? They definitely bend branches. They've definitely bend trees. What do you say to that, John? Do they bend branches into tunnels by rivers? Have you ever seen
Well, they
that?
do. They absolutely do. And I have seen that up in Lakemont, Georgia. I mean, I've seen many things that they have done, and it's in my book. We see it all the time. And people look at me and say, John, you're weird. I said, well, no, here's the proof. And it's like they say, oh my God, you're right. Yeah, Bigfoot does incredible things. Bigfoot wants to be a little bit so that it's not always seen, but that if you look hard, you will know that Bigfoot was there.
You will.
And
well, I was just going to. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I'll never forget when I was driving down the road to Farside Lane in Lakemont, Georgia, and I stopped and I saw a big X made out of a couple of trees. And I stopped and I took a picture of it, and it's my book. And it's like, Jesus Christ, Bigfoot did this. And I know Bigfoot did this. It's like, don't think that Bigfoot doesn't do great things that we can see, because Bigfoot does. And don't think that it's weird or that you can't see it. I mean, you see these things and you say, oh my God, Bigfoot had to do this.
Oh yeah.
And I know, and I know some of your listeners will say, John, you're crazy. Well, no, I'm not. I've seen great things that Bigfoot has done, and I know someone else had to do them other than people or whatever.
Oh my gosh. I mean, those X's too, I've heard so many different theories as to what they are, but the most interesting one, all I can say is what I took from that presentation was, if this X is a rockin', don't come and knockin'. Okay. So I'm just going to say, I know it's an inside thing with just myself. I laugh about that all the time, but we really don't know exactly what the markers mean exactly, other than its territory, I think, of some of these Bigfoots, y'all. So, Raymond is asking, okay, because, Bigfoots are beautiful, wonderful. I love them to death, but there's also some that aren't so great, that are a little bit mean, that could run you out, if you're in their territory. There's some that will eat you, okay, but I like to say they're just like humans. Okay, there's a lot of humans that are bad people, right? It's like,
that is correct.
There's a lot of, they're just like humans, okay? So there are humans that aren't of God too, probably. But he's asking, is there a rogue Bigfoot that aren't of God? Okay, what do you say to that, John?
Well, they're like people. There's some people that are bad, some people that are really good, and then there's a whole bunch in the middle. And the ones that I think the ones in the middle and the ones that are really good are trying to communicate with us. There are some bad Bigfoots, and you got to avoid them.
Try to avoid them. That's right. Like in Alaska, for instance, right up at what is that, Port Chatham or Portlock, Alaska? There were people that were going missing, and that was one of my remote viewing targets a while back. It was what happened to all those people, you know, that went missing, and of course their body parts were washing up on shore, and from that data, what I took from that data was that there was a line that the Bigfoots basically drew in the sand and said, if any human crosses this line, they're fair game, and we will rip them to shreds, to send a point across to get them out of here, because the humans were actually encroaching on their habitat and on their resources, and they were fed up. Okay, they'd put a cannery there, like a fishery. They were taking all the salmon and everything. So the Bigfoots got mad and ripped a couple heads off. Okay, so you got a few actually, and the whole town ended up packing up and leaving, except for the postman who stayed back for 1 year by himself. That brave soul. But so they're not all good. Okay, and not to say those were bad. I mean, I get territorial too, John. Okay, I could get territorial too. I wouldn't rip somebody's head off though, literally. Okay, I'm no praying mantis. I think that's what they do. but
Right.
anyways.
I mean, you've got to take care of what's yours, but
That's right.
you also have the capability of being kind and wonderful, and I think that's what they have. You know, you just don't mess with them. I mean, you know, it's like if you have a neighbor, you don't go over there and try to encroach upon their territory. You don't.
Mm-hmm.
Just be kind.
No.
Be kind and think of them. Think of Bigfoot as your neighbor. Do you agree with that?
Yes. You know, that's interesting that you say that, because Terry Wendell, a good friend of mine who goes out Bigfooting with us sometimes, he's with Rock Hill Bigfoot out of South Carolina. We're not too far from you, John. And he says that whenever he goes out in the field, a lot of times he'll take a trash bag and he goes out and collects trash out of the forest, because, you know, people are humans are just dirty sometimes. They just throw trash everywhere. I can speak from experience. I mean, it's just wild. You just walk down the street in our town and people dump like bags of fast food out in the middle of the sidewalks and stuff. It's like, these people must have been born in a barn or something. It's wild. I was not raised that way. Okay. I would never do that.
And I certainly wasn't either.
But some people were, apparently, and they just don't care. And so it's the same with some of our national parks and our state parks. Some people can just be real messy and leave trash out. And so he'll go take a garbage bag and he'll put all the trash in this garbage bag. And so he says he knows that it's where Bigfoots are. And so he feels like that actually kind of opens up a line with them, because he's showing respect. And they give him respect. A lot of times they'll come and poke him in his tent. And I know that sounds like it's disrespect, but it's really not when you're out there Bigfooting, y'all. You kind of want to get poked in the tent a little bit every now and then. Oh, God, that sounds horrible. Poke a finger through anyways. Gosh.
And all I got to say is I know that your son, Ben, loves to get poked.
Oh, my God. Man, that just came out wrong. He has seen a Bigfoot, y'all. Yes. Jeez. Terry, let me explain myself real quick, okay? Because Terry was in his tent. God, this could go south. Terry was in his tent and was sleeping on his cot, and a Bigfoot poked his finger through the tent, and it poked him, and it scared him to death. Okay, I don't think it scared him to death, but he was just a little startled by that. And so anyways, oh man, you know what? I'm going to get some shorts. I bet that's going to be a clip in my shorts. I don't know if I'm going to be able to air that one, but anyways, you don't, when I say you get poked, sometimes you want to give John.
Yes.
Man, this is too funny. Oh God, I don't even know what to say. Anyways, Yes.
We are truly having fun, and we are memorializing the great things that Bigfoot does. We
I
really
need to
are.
rewind. Let's rewind this one. Okay.
Back. Okay.
Y'all.
And you know,
Okay.
and I guess I will say this. Bigfoot knows that I really loved working in Atlanta. And
You
Bigfoot,
worked in Atlanta.
yes, I did as a
Okay.
sales rep for the keyboard industry. And I loved Atlanta. I met great people. And Bigfoot knows that. And Bigfoot knows, and he also reminded me I had two really good friends. I've got to find them and talk to them about the fact that we're coming with Atlanta Bigfoot. And it's going to be wonderful. And being up there at Emory University area and all these great places that I used to go. So we're going to be, when I'm going up there, Bigfoot wants me to be there. And so it feels good. And I know that I'm going to have acceptance when I start talking to people about doing events in the Atlanta area. Bigfoot wants me back there. I think Bigfoot wants us everywhere. He wants you
Yes.
everywhere. That's why he is kind and wonderful to you, because you're doing good things for Bigfoot.
Thank you. Well, I'm having a lot of fun, and I'm having a great time. And I know that, it's all about the respect, though. Like I was saying, it's the respect. And if we respect the Bigfoot, they respect us back. And it's the same with all these cryptids, I feel like. And it's been my experience thus far. It's just that respect thing. So I think that's a great piece of advice, is if you want to show your respect, go out with a good heart when you're out there doing your, if you want to go out for a Bigfoot experience, so to speak, you want to go see one, or you want to maybe go hear some knocks or whatever it is, you go out in the parks. Take a garbage bag and clean up some trash, y'all. Take some garbage bags and have an intent of, just letting them know that you're there. You're not there to hurt them. You're here to just communicate or whatever, and
right. And just,
and
for me, I'm just flat out there to promote Bigfoot. I'm a promoter, and I love to promote Bigfoot. And so whenever I am promoting Bigfoot, good things happen to me. They really do. And yes, Bigfoot, you please listen. Whenever I'm out there to promote you, great things happen to me. And all I got to say is thank you. I don't care what anyone says. I don't care if anyone thinks I'm crazy. Heck with them.
We're all a little crazy, John. We got to be to do these things, right?
Well, we just love Bigfoot, and we know that the collective we know that Bigfoot appreciates everything that we do. Because if I hadn't started Bigfoot conferences 9 years ago, we wouldn't have 15 of them in the Southeast now. And we're heading to Atlanta. Atlanta's big. It's got 7 million people, and Bigfoot knows that I'm going to be down there talking about Bigfoot. And just that's the way it is.
Getting poked by Bigfoot. Oh my gosh, Scott. I hope Scott comes to this conference this weekend too. You better be there. You live in this area, so I know you're from there. and I'm sure I will catch something from some people this weekend talking about how we get poked by Bigfoot. Okay. That came out so wrong. I cannot believe that came out that way. That was funny.
Well, that's all right.
Man,
and by the way, ask Scott if I can call him and talk to him. I would love to.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know if I think that's maybe one of the area that he's from. I'm not sure if he still lives there. He's not too far from there though. So,
okay.
But yeah, this is, we do want to get poked by Bigfoot in the tent from outside the tent with the big. Yeah. Okay. So anyways, somebody was saying in the chat, I just had that comment pulled up and I accidentally took it down, but it was if Bigfoot or Dogman wants you to see them, that's when you see them. Okay, so it's almost like nothing is by chance. Like, what do you think about that, John? Do you think that some people will have an experience because the Bigfoots allow them to see them?
Oh, I agree 100%. I mean, we don't do anything on our own, but if they want us to see them, we absolutely will see them. We will talk to them. And the best thing that I can say, okay, and this is something that I tell people. You know about prayer.
Mhm.
Prayer
Oh yeah.
is when you internally talk to God, but you can internally talk to Bigfoot. It's like you have a channel and you can talk to, and I talk to Bigfoot all the time. I say, hey, Bigfoot, what's up? Let's do this, or what do you think about this? And I get answers. And that's how I run my little business here. My attorney, who's my business partner, thinks it's so weird and great. But he said, but John, I do that all the time. He said, that's just prayer. So I just
Yes.
talk to Bigfoot and I get answers. And I would love to find out if any of your listeners do that. It's just, this is what I do, and this is how I run my life, how I run my business, how I run everything. And I just say, hey, Bigfoot, what do you think? And then I get answers back and I do them.
I love
Just,
it. I love it. I mean, getting advice from a Bigfoot. What would Bigfoot do? I mean, I've got so many ideas for t-shirts and stuff right now. My goodness. I
what
know,
would
especially
Bigfoot do?
after this conversation, we're gold. We're golden. Kathy, hi Kathy. Kathy says, if they know you, look for glyphs in your backyard. They may be from twigs. The ones I know like being called the people. Thank you, Jessica and Dr. John, for this most enlightening show. Thank you, Kathy. I appreciate that. That's another way that Bigfoots communicate, John, are glyphs. And I do have, I just grabbed a picture off the internet right before the show because I was in a hurry. But they sometimes the normal person would not notice this. Just a normie, right? Somebody that doesn't know Bigfoot, right? You might be out in the middle of the woods and you see some sticks piled on top of each other, kind of like that. Okay, but us in the Bigfoot community, people that have been out in the field, we see sticks leaning up against a tree or some kind of just things that are kind of placed somewhere with some intention behind it. And it may not be an intention. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. But we call those glyphs. Sometimes they're just in designs. Some of them can be elaborate. Some of them can just be a couple of sticks on top of each other. And that is a way for them to communicate. Now, have you ever come across some glyphs, John?
Well, I really have. And what I see in my head are ones that I saw on Far Side Road at the bottom of the mountain before it goes up. And I stopped off. I took a picture of one, and it was absolutely, and it went in my book. I mean, Bigfoot sends messages in lots of different ways. They know who you are. They know where you are. And I'm sorry I'm laughing. It's just wonderful to be in touch with Bigfoot. I mean, it's just one of those things.
You said touch. We were talking about touching and poking.
Just be in touch. I mean,
Oh
they
man.
know that I don't go out and I don't camp like you guys do. But
This
they
is
know where I am, and they send messages, and it's just wonderful. I get messages from Bigfoot all the time, and I just say, okay, great, thank you, bye. They know that they know that I am responding to what they are doing and how they're trying to communicate with me, and I really appreciate it. And they're listening. By the way, Jessica, this Bigfoot is listening to us right now. They know that we are talking about them. They know that we care about them. They know that we understand what they do. And it's just wonderful. And for the people that all you have to do, I'm going to give everybody a tip. All you have to do is think about Bigfoot, think good thoughts about Bigfoot, and they will start communicating with you. That's all you have to do.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I've got to say. They will start communicating with you. And I'm going to ask you a very personal question. Do you agree?
Very personal. Yes, the touch, the pokes, the all that stuff. Absolutely. Yes, I agree. Yeah, if you
And
just tune in, if you tune into them, if you can make contact, okay, and that is what my team has gone to the same location for decades. For I'm gonna say at least almost 2 decades now. Okay, at least for some of those guys, and
Mhm.
and I feel like the Bigfoots get to know you after you go for a while. They know you, and when I bring people, I've 2 different times I brought just like a friend, like one friend at a time or so, with me to one of those locations, and the vibe is a little different. It's almost like they don't, eh, not that they don't want me there or they don't want us there, but it's just like, well, they don't. I don't know if they like strangers. Okay, people they're not used to up there, and I'm sure
Oh,
you could
I
probably
agree.
relate to
Now,
that.
I'm sorry. I totally agree with that statement. They want to know. They want to know who you are.
Yes, they do. But I feel like it's good. They got a trusted person, a trusted regular there. And so it's like, well, it's almost like when you bring a new person around your dog. I know that's a terrible way it's kind of a bad way. It's kind of a good way to describe it. But for those of us who have pets, you bring somebody, you introduce somebody new into your home, and the pets, they got to get used to them. They got to go sniff and stuff. And that's the same with the Bigfoots.
Right. It's like Wally. My best friend is Mike up in Travelers Rest. And it's like when I go in there, Wally, his dog, just goes crazy and he doesn't like me. And then after about 3 or 4 minutes, he remembers who I am and we're best friends. And he's like all over me and it's great. But Wally just has to remember who I am.
Yes. That's wonderful. That's right. And Thorley and Hobson says Bigfoot's an anomaly in the cryptid world. Not quite here, not quite there, but everywhere. That sounds like Alice in Wonderland or something. But that's true. I'm in the woo camp, right? Is what you would call me, I guess. I'm in the flesh and bone and the woo camp. Okay, I walk the line. Okay, but the people in the flesh and bone camp would say I'm totally woo. Okay, but people at your conference are going to be both as well. Okay, people at this conference, it's not all woo camp. Okay, but the people who are flesh and bone do believe in do know there's an X factor as well, and I think that's kind of how the trajectory of Bigfoot research is right now. Don't you think, John? Is that it's
Well,
not just people who think it's a primate running around the woods anymore?
right. I mean, people talk to me about that in particular. They say, well, is Bigfoot real? I said, well, yes, it is. Bigfoot is very real. Well, I mean, is it a human being or what? I said, well, it's everything. Bigfoot is out there. You just gotta you just gotta start talking to Bigfoot in your head. I know that sounds crazy, but you gotta start talking to Bigfoot, and Bigfoot will talk back to you.
Yeah, it's
Bigfoot's
all in your
Bigfoot
head.
is not Bigfoot is not shy, is it, Jessica?
They are shy, actually. Sometimes they are. Yeah. Well, they're the most elusive being on the planet, don't you think? They are a little
Well,
shy, but if they want to get your attention, they will.
yes, that's what I mean. They will get your attention. They will talk to you in your head. You just have to learn to listen. And it's wonderful to have Bigfoot as your friend. I mean, I do, and you do, and a
Yes.
number of us that are in your chat room do have Bigfoot as a friend, and we think about them, we hear from them, and I don't care how crazy it is, we do, and they like us because we support them and we promote them, and I think they know that. And I'm sorry, I don't care how crazy it is. They like us, they support us because we support them. Do you
We,
do you see what I mean?
yeah, I do. And Alea says, if a Bigfoot pokes you, that's it. You're its property. Oh my gosh.
That's
We have
that's
I
that's a
that went off
that's a
the rails today, y'all. I'm so sorry. I realized how bad that sounded after it came out of my mouth. I am really sorry, y'all. That was really funny though. One of one
well
of
that's
one of my
okay
shows was
'cause
bound to go off the rails at some point. Okay. Today's the day. Today's the day.
So,
It's fun though.
so with Dr. John, and he's as crazy as you are, but we know what we know.
We're
And
knowers, right? We're
and I
knowers.
will think about this all the rest of the day, because Bigfoot, I think Bigfoot is very excited that we're talking about him. And in fact,
Yeah.
in my head, I just saw Bigfoot with a huge smile. Bigfoot loves what we're talking about, because we're talking about him. We're talking about the good that he does in the woods and everything. And he loves us, and we love him.
We do.
That's just it.
Raymond has another question. If a person has an out body experience, can and will darkness be attracted? I don't know, maybe. Especially, well, if you are of the light, darkness will always be attracted to you, right, John?
Yes, it will. But just always remember that to think about, it's what you think about in these experiences that really matters. Don't you agree, Jessica? If you think good things will come to you. And if you think bad things, they will come to you. But if
That's
you
right.
think good things, they will they happen to me. Is like yesterday morning, I hadn't been able to call Scott Slade, and he just called me. A big time DJ from Atlanta. He just called me, and he had the correct number. He had my new phone number. I didn't even ask him how he did that, but just Bigfoot
It was Bigfoot.
gives people great information.
Yes.
Don't think
No.
that it's not. And I knew immediately it was Bigfoot that had done that. And so thank you, Bigfoot.
Yes, I'm not saying it was Bigfoot, but it might have been Bigfoot. Okay. There was that
Well,
guy in Ancient
I'm
Aliens that would
certain
say
it was
that about
Bigfoot,
aliens.
and I just and I love what Bigfoot does, because I promote him, and I'll always promote Bigfoot.
Me too. Me too. Well, we do love Bigfoot, and John, this has been a wonderful, fun show today, and I think we covered all the different ways that Bigfoots communicate with each other and with humans and with whatever else is out there. It's not just Bigfoot; it's all the different cryptids. And John, you have some fantastic books that you've written. Of course, I was referencing the Quantum Bigfoot today by Ron Moorhead, who's my buddy.
Right,
Okay,
and I will have
this
on
is a good one.
sale. I will
Yes,
have
tell it.
on sale my book, Introduction to Hominology, and I'm going to retitle it Introduction to Bigfoot Science. Bigfoot is a science. It's not something that you can not agree with. It's a science. It's all about what Bigfoot can do. And I would love for people to buy it. I think I got 25 copies coming, and just everybody buy a copy of Introduction to Bigfoot Science, because it is a science, and I am trying to promote that because I think that's very important.
It is important. Yes. It just as if you guys want to come over and see Dr. John Stamey, myself, David Pardue, you guys, he's a regular on my show, Matthew Delph, who has also been on the show. Actually, I think Matthew might have been on my Spaced Out Radio show, but anyways, he'll come back soon, I promise. But you guys come and see us this weekend at the Georgia Bigfoot Conference. And of course, John, you've also got a YouTube channel and you got Scary Cast. Tell the audience everything they need to know about the conference this weekend.
Well, all you have to do is go to Demarest, Georgia, and Piedmont University. And what I'm going to do, because the lady just sent this to me, I've got the GPS information so that you can find us, and just come there, come to the Student Center, and come to the second floor, and come see me, and come see Jessica. So it's very simple. Piedmont University, they are wonderful. Now I'm going to tell you something. You talk about people that are embracing the Georgia Bigfoot Conference. You know what they're telling me, Jessica? They're telling me we want to have it back already. And I love these people. They are great. They are so kind to us, and that's where I want the Georgia Bigfoot Conference to be, where they
it.
love and they embrace Bigfoot as a phenomenon, and the Rabun County Chamber of Commerce. Nobody has ever been as supportive of as those people. A big shout out to them. They're great people. So Rabun County Chamber of Commerce, and come to Piedmont University and just get on your phone and it'll give you the address, and just come there and see me, see Jessica, see David, see Matt Delph, Stacy Brown. We got a lot of great people, and just we're all there to support and promote the number one cryptid, in my opinion, in the world, which is the Georgia Bigfoot.
The Bigfoot. Don't
The
get
Bigfoot,
poked.
and he
Yes.
and he's there, and we're so excited about having Ben. Your son will be there, and I can't wait to introduce him to everybody. Ben is one of the nicest little kids I've ever met. And I think he's someone that everyone needs to get to know, along with you, because your family supports Bigfoot, and we're so glad that you do. And thank you, Jessica, for everything that you do to support Georgia Bigfoot and all the things that we do. I can't thank you enough.
Well, thank you, John. Thank you for allowing me to speak at all your conferences and stuff. And the Georgia Bigfoot, this is a big one. This is a big one. And what's up, Miss Angie? And oh yeah, Angie, you need to come down this weekend too. She's got a house at Lake Burton. Okay, that's right down the road from where we're going to be.
Oh yeah, Lake
as a matter
Burton.
of fact,
That's a wonderful place.
I would love to see you, Angie. That'd be so fun. But yeah, it is just a pleasure to get to work with you, John, and to be able to hang out. And yes, my son loves Bigfoot. He has had his own Bigfoot encounter. As a matter of fact, with Don Tart will be there this weekend, and David Pardue.
Oh,
of course, David's speaking at the conference.
Don will be there. We really like Don.
Yes,
Don is great.
Yeah. You should have gotten Don to speak at the conference. Shoot, if I had thought about it. We'll
get
maybe next year.
Him at Myrtle Beast Bigfoot.
Oh yeah. Okay. Perfect. Yeah. Perfect. Well, where can people get tickets, John? Is there a website?
Just go to GeorgiaBigfootConference.com. There you are. Buy a ticket, or come by and see me when you walk in. Buy a ticket and enjoy this great presentation that we're going to have. I am so happy. I am so proud of the great speakers that we have. And just, if you can feel my energy, you know that I love Georgia Bigfoot. This has been the greatest experience that I've ever had. And I'm just glad to share it. I'm glad to share it with everybody. Georgia Bigfoot.
Georgia Bigfoot. Thank you, John. Thank you for being here today, John. It really means a lot to me that you hopped on with me today. And,
thank you so much.
This funny show. I have not laughed this much during a show in a long time. So thank you.
Well, that's good. I'll call you later today. And I want to say thank you, Jessica, for being such a fan of Georgia Bigfoot Conference. And we appreciate everything that you do to support us. And just know that Bigfoot loves you. Did you know that?
Thank you. I love Bigfoot too. I
just want you to know, and I want to say it publicly,
right here.
Bigfoot loves you.
Well, thank you. I love Bigfoot too, John. Like and Claw, thank you so much for that super sticker. That's very sweet of you. Like and Claw, that's a cool name. That's kind of badass. Don't get poked by that Like and Claw. Oh my gosh, I love it. Thank you so much, though. That is very sweet. And yeah, you guys, I hope everybody had a really good time today, as did I and Dr. John. We did have a great time. We do have some great ideas for some t-shirts and some stuff now. And so yeah, be on the lookout. I still need to make me some merch just for the Cryptid Huntress, so y'all know it'll be a minute. But nonetheless, please come and see us this weekend, y'all. We will be at the Georgia Bigfoot Conference at Piedmont University, Demarest, Georgia, with a meet and greet Friday night. John, I don't think we talked about the meet and greet.
Okay, the meet and greet is going to be at
RM Rose.
RM Rose Distillery. They're in Mount Airy, which is about 9 miles from Demarest, Georgia. And and I'll have I think I have the actual address. It's 1896 Dix Hill Parkway. But I'll have that.
put it in your GPS, y'all, if you want to come and have some
Yeah.
distilled spirits. Okay.
And
Over
it
there.
will be
There
wonderful.
will be
And
drinks,
everybody
right?
everybody
Okay.
that speaks will get a free drink courtesy of Bigfoot.
Oh my
So thank
gosh.
you very
See,
much.
Bigfoot
And
loves y'all.
Jessica, all I've got to say is every time I'm on your show, it is the most fun. And I want to say thank you so much to Jessica and the Cryptid Huntress for all their support and all their promotion, because you guys are the best. You
We
really
have the
are. And
best audience.
tell Ben when you pick him up from school that I said hello.
I will. I'll tell him. He will definitely be there this weekend for sure, with bells on, probably wearing a ghillie suit. Okay, I don't know. His ghillie suit, he kind of outgrew his ghillie suit, but remember that about 2 years ago he was wearing his ghillie suit at your conference and running around. So that's how he rolls. But yeah, we're
Yeah,
looking forward to it. I will see you on Friday night, John. And yeah, call me
that's
later.
right.
I can't wait. You guys, please come back and see me tomorrow night. I'll be here for a remote viewing show, and we will have a show on Saturday night as well. So, new shows both times. Okay. So, y'all come back. I'll be live tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern. Don't get poked between now and then, y'all, if you can help it. Okay.
Don't get poked.
Don't get poked, or do. I don't know. We do want to get poked sometimes. I don't know. It's weird, right? It sounds really weird. But everybody have a great day. Please have stay safe out there. Keep your head on a swivel. Don't live in fear, y'all. Get your tickets, GeorgiaBigfootConference.org. I will see you guys tomorrow night. Everybody have a great day. All right. Bye, John. Bye, y'all.
Bye-bye, Jessica. Thank you.